So I'm finishing up my Virgo picture. Um, this is Virgo. Sometime when I have flowers that have a lot of detail, what I do is that I color the entire thing. For instance, I'm going to color all of this yellow. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go back through this flower and just outline some of the areas that'll make it two-tone. Because this, if you make it all one color, then what happens is you can't see the detail in the flower. But if you do it in a pencil, preferably a pencil, and then you color the entire thing one color, then you can go back and choose a color and skip petals as I normally would do. And like I did this green one right here. I used 2 shades of green, and I also put a little yellow in there so that you can see that the details in all the petals. So that's how I color when a flower has a lot of petals or a lot of detail. I don't want to lose the detail. So what I do is that I will make the flower one color, in pencil preferably, and then I go back and I take the desired pen that I like. In this case, I'm going to use this. It looks like a lilac art pen, and it is a glitter pen. You can't tell from the screen that it's a glitter pen, but it really is a glitter pen. And then I just, like I said, I just color certain things, certain little parts of the flower to give it more depth. See there? That way you don't lose all the petals in the flower. So you start out with the flower being yellow, and then you skip around and you color. Not all the petals, but just, and you can color right over. You can layer, which makes it good. Sometimes I prefer layering it with a sometimes I prefer layering it with a marker. A marker is usually better. But this time I'm trying to try this glitter pen to see how it's going to react over this marker. It's doing pretty good. I'm a little hesitant. I see little parts where it's not really taking to the pencil. But it does pretty good, as you can see. And when you have a flower like this, you really don't have to stay within the lines. Just make it as pretty as you want it to be. So layering it, this purple over the yellow did change, look like it changed the color from a lilac to more of a black or grayish color, which I'm okay with because the flower still looks beautiful. It looks pretty. So what do you think? Have you tried this technique before? Like I said, I think when a flower has this much detail, this is the best method in order to color it. There we go. So I have my yellow and lilac, which kind of turned to a grayish color. And then I have my blue, my green, and my yellow. Now I have another little flower here that has a lot of details. When I painted the roses or the red flowers, pink flowers, I use a marker, a dark marker here and a light marker here. In this one, I used a pencil, a red pencil over marker. I colored the entire flower pink, and I used the pencil to highlight the edges to give it some shading. And then I did the same thing down here. I used the pencil, and I used a red marker to highlight the dark spots, and I also used a pencil. So when you're shading, you don't have to really stick with one pencil and to do all the shading. And I really wanted it to stand out, so the marker really gives it depth. Makes it look 3D and makes it look like a well-painted flower. Same thing with the blue. This I use one pencil. You can't really tell the difference, but I use one pencil for the dark spots, and then I trimmed it in the dark pencil, and then I went real light with the light pencil. And here at the green, I used the marker. I used a marker for the lines and to accent and to highlight around the edges, and the inside I used a pencil. So sometimes I'll switch it up. I like to use crayons. I like to use pencils. I like to use ink. This is the purple flowers. This is ink. I had a purple ink pencil, glitter ink pencil, and a little marker. So I'll switch it up. I'll use different things to color with. I just don't pull out my pencils and only use pencils. I used all kinds of different things. I wanted her to be a black Virgo, African American Virgo. So when you use a pencil, you may not get the right different shade of the shading. So what I do is that I will, when I want to shade a face, I would actually color it all black, like I had done before. I shaded in black, but because he uses so many leaves, so many streaks, I go back and I use an eraser to get rid of all the unwanted extra lines that you get when you use a pencil. So I'll use an eraser to try to make it look as even as possible. If you have a different technique, let me know. Because sometimes I like to use brown skin. Sometimes I'll use blue. But when using a pencil on a face, let me go back to one of the others. This one I used a pencil, and that's for the lion's face. This one, I used brown, and I used a tan color. And like I said, sometime I didn't do it on this one, but sometime I'll go back and I will erase it a little more so that it doesn't have dark spots and light spots, because it's kind of difficult sometimes to get an even tone when you're using a pencil to color with. So in order to do that, just pull out your eraser and go over it. And try to be even when you're erasing. And as I mentioned, it kind of helps it. Because when you use a pencil, you do get really dark spots. Because for me, it's difficult. It's difficult to get an even tone for someone's face. So when you use a pencil to erase it, turns out a little bit better. I don't know, what do you think? I think it did. I don't like using the markers for faces because the brown is so dark. The browns and the blacks are so dark, you wouldn't even be able to see the person's face. But when you use a colored pencil, you can see the detail in the face. And you just take a pencil and try to even it up a little bit by erasing. See the difference with this color and down here? Like you can still see like the pencil marks, the strokes, that's what it is. You can still see the pencil strokes and the direction that you went in. But if you erase it a little bit, very lightly, but you don't want to erase it where you get rid of the color altogether, but just erase it just a little bit so the strokes won't be as obvious. And sometimes I erase it and go in a circle when I erase it. Erasing it in a circle makes it a little bit better than, there we go. Her face looks a lot better. How about that? Well, this is my Zodiac book. I do like it. You can find a book pretty much based on anything. This one's called Zen Art Therapy Calm Color Creation Zodiac Signs. And I believe I got this one. I did. I got this one. There's a membership for this particular book. I don't subscribe to a membership for any coloring books. But this one, it says 1 year, 6 issues, only $29.97. I got this one at the Valley Goodwill store, Valley Thrift Store here in Cincinnati, and it cost me 49 cents. And sometime when you go buy books there, they might be written in, or someone may have started coloring it and decided to stop. But in this case, this one was completely clean. So all the coloring that's in this book was done by me. So I do enjoy it. It has instructions, psychology of color. Wow, did you know there was a psychology behind coloring? And they have a chart of all the different colors. And it talks about what the colors mean. So I'm going to have to read this later because this looks really interesting. I never thought that what I color and how I color had a meaning behind it. Red is physical, blue is intelligent, yellow is optimistic, green is harmony, purple is spiritual, orange is comfort, pink is physical, gray is sophistication, black is glamour, white is hygiene, and brown is seriousness. So it gives you really good explanation. And it has other words, though. I only read the first word. So a really good explanation on, after you get finished coloring, you can go back and think about what you colored and what it really meant. All right, if you like my coloring, if you want to leave me some tips on coloring, feel free to do that. Let me know what you think. Subscribe and keep coloring. It keeps you calm.